Sorry, my
Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Aussie Craft Distillers Shooting the Shit. And tonight, as you can see, we don't have Luke or Crafty, so this should be a good one. But we do have the pleasure of having Alex and Brad stepping into their stead. Welcome, guys, and thank you for joining me tonight. And we have the pleasure of interviewing Mark and Camille from Winding Road Distillery. So, hi, guys.
Hello.
And welcome to the show.
thank you.
Let's just start the night. Is pretty obligatory. We usually just do around the room. What is everyone drinking? The main plan is it doesn't really matter what you're drinking, but we do try to use someone else's spirit apart from our own. So,
Sure.
Alex, knock yourself out. Carpa.
I have a good old cup of hot chocolate, which is very off-brand for me. I try not to drink too much during the weeks because that's what I spend my whole weekend doing. But no, I'm just on a hot chocolate tonight, which is incredibly boring. I'm super sorry, but I can't wait to hear what you guys are drinking.
I'll tell you, I'm drinking a few things here tonight, as I always do. I've got the Winding Road, of course, from our guests here. But I'm also drinking a Nepalese rum from Cookery, which is our rum tribe. It's our rum tribe rum of the month. I won't be trying to think I'm too special, but that's what it is. Himalayan. It's from the Nepal. They get 3 months of growing season for their sugarcane. 3 months a year they get, so they smash this molasses out. And talking to the people, it's the most highly regulated and accounted for molasses and sugarcane and sugar as it's produced, because there's so little of it in the world that the government sort of regulations on their sugar is unbelievable. You wouldn't believe it if I told you. So that's what I'm drinking anyway. Cookie rum and Winding Road pure single rum.
Cool. I'll just jump in. If I can get it to work. Drinking Some Point Renegade Gin. So Some Point was the distillery that we interviewed last week. It's quite an interesting gin. That's what I'm starting with, and then I'll probably move across to a little bit of Starwood. So which one is this? This is Sticky Toffee Apple. Some special cast.
Very nice.
So actually,
We're enjoying a drop, and I don't have the bottle in front of us here, but a drop of Paul Shand from Tria Prima, his beautiful whiskey. And this is his Bruja release, which is a ex-tawny cask. And Paul makes a gorgeous drop there down in the Adelaide Hills. So interestingly, I met I was at the Lobo in Sydney the other day for we were part of their 10-year celebration, and met a couple of guys there that were Nepalese, and I had no idea they grew sugarcane there until they were telling me about it. And now here you are, Brad.
It's astounding talking to the people from Cookery Rum. If they have any sort of an accident in their distilling and stuff, it can set them back literally tens of thousands of dollars in taxes and bureaucratic fees and all this. And they've got to account for every basic milliliter of molasses that comes in to their distillery. So it's not just the grog that comes out, sort of stuff. It's it's an amazing sort of. They don't care. I guess the government doesn't give a shit what comes out. Just make sure that every piece of molasses and sugarcane product is accounted for. But there you go. So who was that you were chatting to, Mark? Did you say?
Sorry.
Who was that you were chatting to about Nepalese rum? Because I've never heard of anyone chatting about Nepalese rum until just we sort of do it, and now we hear about all these people talking about Nepalese rum. So it's quite interesting. Who was it?
Yeah. So we were presenting along with a couple of other distillers, Bricks and then Solander Rum, and the three of us were doing a panel there, and afterwards just had a chat with these guys about Nepalese sugarcane. And I had no idea they even grew cane there in Nepal. It was fascinating. Yeah.
So Todd, or Alex, sorry, I see your hot chocolate and I raise it with a glass of water. That's what I'm drinking tonight because, like you, I tend to not drink on school nights during the week.
That's generally my plan too, and then we.
I don't normally, yeah, but for sure when I'm put up to do this, I need a few bracing.
Isn't it so funny that it's so many people turn around and go, oh, I don't drink during the week, or I don't drink school nights. It's almost like it's a shameful thing to do. I know that sometimes my partner and I, like midweek, if we want to crack a bottle of wine, we kind of feel like, oh, we're being so bad because we're drinking during the week. But really, it shouldn't be such a taboo thing, especially if you're doing it well and in moderation and drinking good shit.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So Mark, do you want to just tell us a little bit about your distillery and what got you involved in this endeavor?
Well, it's it's an interesting story, I suppose. Goes back to 2015, actually probably even further than that. So we moved to the area here in the Northern Rivers in 2009, and I had a business back in the U.S. at the time. I'm from Southern California originally, and that I ended up moving out of that and was working on a master's degree at the time and trying to look at what my next moves would be. And up here in the Northern Rivers, particularly at that time, there just weren't a lot of jobs available for what I would have been looking for.
It's a regional area.
Yeah,
it's a regional
absolutely.
area.
And so we were
just
sort of
to confirm,
faced with
you're just past Byron, is it?
We're just
Just
south
south.
of Byron, Alex.
Oh,
We're
south,
between, so
okay.
we're in Tinton Bar. It's a little village located between Ballina and Byron, just
Okay.
just up from Lennox Head, the beach.
An incredibly well camouflaged entry to the distillery too. You couldn't plan the camouflage better, make it easier to miss as you're driving past that beautiful road.
Yeah, exactly. And so we sort of set a timeline of me either figuring out what I was able to do in the area, or we were going to move to the we were going to move to the city. And so we were driving past all this beautiful sugarcane every day, and I've always loved good rum and whiskey, and I just thought, well, why not look at starting a rum distillery? And that was really where the idea started. And from there, again, loving both rum and whiskey, I thought, well, if I'm going to start a rum distillery, might as well do whiskey as well. And it took a couple of years of sort of researching and reading everything I could get my hands on and stuff before we got to the point where we said, yep, okay, we can have a go at this. And we were in the meantime working on getting some fit out and ordering our still. That's still in the screen behind you there. Todd was built at the same time as ours, same place, same time.
So you have a Mark Burns still?
We do. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Wonderful. Okay, so I'm 40 minutes from where Mark is.
Yeah, right. And so there were a few of us that sort of had our stills made at the same time. There was Crafty and Bree and Lee Atwood, Paul Shand with this beautiful drop here, a couple others, and we by the time we got everything together and started production, it was 2018.
And can I say too, because it was a real leap of faith. We're not rock stars or movie stars or anything like that. It was literally, we've been, and I continue to, at the time we were holding down full-time jobs at the same time, kids, and doing this as well. Mm-hmm. And I guess it was probably more of a leap of faith for me than for you. But it was very much the approach was, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? If it works, brilliant. And if it doesn't, then we
Yeah.
we go to whatever we go to, and at least we've given something a go that Mark, more specifically, was really passionate about having a go with. So that's.
And I thought we'd have plenty of good spirits to drown our
That's what I
sorrows.
said. If it doesn't work, we'll have a lot of good stuff.
Had you
So,
had any previous
but-
distilling experience?
No, we didn't. And I'm largely self-taught in that. And
Wonderful.
look, I think it was that was a big sort of question mark initially, right in the very early stages. Is can we do this? Am I able to get my head around this, or am I dreaming here? And really just reading everything I can get my hands on. I spent a couple of days with Brian and Janice Hollingworth, and but other than that, it was all sort of self-taught
And you just read voraciously, because there's nothing in one book. So we've just got, like, if there should ever be a library on distilling, ours would be part of it, because we've got so many books on so many spirits and how to distill them, that Mark has read and has this amazing talent for actually retaining what he's read and then being able to put that theory into practice.
Wow.
And I think I'm just going to give a plug here to the Australian Women's Distilling Association, that I also was the first recipient of their scholarship, and went down to Tassie and did a week course there, and that was really that was fantastic for me. And so, and from that point on, it was real. Oh, we say trial and error.
No, I mean, there was certainly trial
There
and
was
error.
certainly some trials and a couple of errors. But yeah,
definitely. But no, look, I think all of that amounted to us being able to chart the course that we wanted to chart without a lot of we had an idea of where we wanted to go with the distillery. We didn't know what we didn't know, and that sort of worked in our favor in a way. In looking back on it, we our brand Winding Road very much is about Camille's and my journey together. We're obviously from different parts of the globe, and we've come together. We've never traveled that straight, easy path where you can see your destination off in the distance. We've very much enjoyed the journey, and never knowing what's around the next turn. Never know if we're going to be able to successfully navigate the next bend, or and
because you certainly did it a different way to most, as far as setting up an Aussie rum distillery. Because I mean, there's one sort of dinosaur in your area we know of that does it as well, that specialises in the sugarcane juice rum rather than a molasses rum. So, but apart from Husk, you guys must have been one of the first in Australia to be doing that. I think Husk might precede you. I'm not sure if I'm right or wrong on that, but there's not a lot of people doing the agricole style in Australia as compared to the molasses style. So you certainly came in with, like you said, you didn't know what you were doing. You decided to go against the entire grain of the Australian industry and go sugarcane juice rather than molasses. So what was the reason for that? And I love your decision. I've recently become a massive fan of the cane juice based rums rather than the molasses ones. To me, they're so sort of floral and light and herb for me. So, but
well,
for
they
you,
are, and yeah, it was. I think our decision was really. We were aware that Husk was doing it, and so we were the second ones to have a go at a cane juice rum like that. And for us, it really was appealing because, well, for a couple of reasons. One, because it's seasonal. So our cane crush season starts here on Monday, and it'll run through to the sort of middle of December, maybe Christmas thereabouts. And it allows us to make rum for that period, sort of through winter and into spring and maybe the very beginning of summer. And then we shift gears into making whiskey the rest of the year. So it gave us that sort of nice delineation in the year there. And the other reason, probably more importantly for us, was we were really attracted to the fact that it allowed us to capture the terroir of the local region, the influence of the local climate and soil and the
Wow.
cane grown in the area.
So yeah, we are literally, Brad, you've been to where we are, you know, we're literally surrounded by sugarcane. And when we first started, I know it might sound a bit strange, but we were driving home from the beach with kids through sugarcane, and that's when Mark actually said, "What do you think about starting a rum distillery?" And and that's where it sort of all started from there. And why wouldn't you? Why, you know, I think it's probably more so now than back then. Why wouldn't you be using something that is growing all around you? Why wouldn't you be doing
100%.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. You know, it's better for everyone to be using something right there rather than, you know, this is not going to go to anyone, but it's right here in front of us. And as Mark said, we loved as well that it is reflecting the region that we're in.
So making it the way you do, would I be correct in calling it an agricole?
Absolutely,
versus an industrial
it is. Yeah.
style rum, as in molasses is the byproduct of the sugar cane. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, awesome.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
So,
So rum one part of the year, whiskey the other part of the year. Is there any, and gin and coffee liqueur from what I've looked at, is there any favoritism as who does what? I know that Brian and Janice likes to do the rum and Brian likes to make the whiskey. I know that she told me that she kicked Brian's ass into making the rum at the moment. So is there any divide as in who does what?
I guess for us, what has been challenging is because up until very, very recently, it has been just us. Whilst we've got kids as well, and I've worked full time at the same time, and I continue to work full time. So I took a bit of time off last year to the early this year to work with Mark in the distillery, and that was fantastic for me because what I could see how much he was doing. And I guess for any small distillery, you've got to be the plumber, the electrician. You've got to be doing so many things, and to see that he's doing all of those things, calling in professionals when required and when it's advisable, but you know, he's doing all of those things all the time. And so Mark is the distiller, and I have been doing all of that stuff behind the scenes to keep it all going. And I know, I think that's what I learned a lot too, is that the distilling is one part of having a small family-based distillery, and there is this huge other part of keeping it going. So we work well as a team doing that.
Amazing.
I was going to say, just finish your sentence, Camille. The huge other part of like yourself getting out to pretty much every markets in the Northern Rivers, you sort of downplay that. I mean, the workload of, I mean, you're all over the shop, or you were. You stepped back a little bit, did you say, just recently?
I was. Thank you, Brad. I've just recently stepped back to go back to full-time work because we've actually got someone else on board, another woman who is amazing, Liz. Part of the ethos of the AWDA scholarship was to try and bring women into the industry. So we've got Liz with us, and she's doing a lot of that now. She actually has a bit of a background in the industry. So I've taken a step back to get to do some more of my work, but I'm doing Winding Road mornings, nights, and on weekends.
Right, yeah. Because you saved our ass. When last time I saw you was down in Yamba, I think, in the Easter holidays. So I took the family down there, and can you believe I went down on holidays? I didn't take a bottle. I forgot everything. I forgot a bottle of booze. Didn't take a single bottle of booze. So I held off because I knew you guys did that market. So I waited till it was the Thursday market. Is that right? Now Winding Road surely going to be there, and that's and I tried your rum. I got, as you know, I bought this very bottle of rum. I'm still drinking now, but a bottle of that coffee liqueur yours, which is absolutely sensational. That Alex mentioned, beautiful, yeah, nice. That was gone way before the end of the holiday. The only reason we didn't come back and try and get another bottle is because we found a cocktail bar that had just opened outside the caravan park we were staying in. So,
all of a sudden, it seemed too far away to come back.
Most things
But
passed,
Mark
cocktail
is our-
bars seemed too far away once we discovered the cocktail bar.
But Mark is certainly, I know you love the term master distiller. You're the superstar distiller. And we kind of talk a lot through
Master of
things, don't we?
disaster. Yeah.
Oh, what's the biggest disaster you've had in learning?
Oh, look, I haven't had any really big disasters. I've had a few ferments get
You're
away
not
from
doing
me.
it properly then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So try harder to have a disaster.
Say that cane juice one that time. That
Oh
was
yeah, I've had a few of those. I mean, everyone
the
has.
first time.
Yeah, just a few ferments that have been a little more aggressive than I would have liked, and they've made a nice mess on the distillery floor there. But touch wood, I haven't had any really, dramatic moments or anything like that yet.
That was it. And that was funny. Like we came out the next morning and the floor was just covered in juice, wasn't
And
it?
it's sticky from the rum disasters
Bubbling
I've
away.
heard. Yeah.
And I like to say this cane juice is not like what, if you go to a farmer's market and you see someone there with a little crusher and they've got the beautiful cane and they crush it, and
Yeah,
you can have
exactly.
it with a bit of lime in there or a bit of ginger in there and it looks all gorgeous and everything. This juice looks more like mud. It's kind of, it's straight off the, it's harvested, the cane goes into the crusher with a bit of dirt and muck on it and everything like that, gets crushed, and it's all in there. Yeah. So it makes a beautiful rum though, as you know, Brad. It's gorgeous. We love it, and we've just gotten deeper and deeper into it. And I guess circling back, Alex, a little question you had, which do we prefer? If there's a favorite in there. I love all of our products, but I really do enjoy the rum. And I would probably say that would be my favorite because a couple of reasons. One, again, is going to that whole really beautifully local component to it. The other reason is that a lot of us rum distillers here in Australia that are on this wave of creating some gorgeous craft rums, whether they be fresh cane juice or molasses based rum, we're quite aware that we are I think writing the next chapter in what rum is here. It's really taking it into the next level, and it's very exciting to be a part of that.
And talk about coming into a country that is probably ruined when it comes to rum because of our teenage drinking years and access to certain rums that may not have done us well in our teenage drinking years. So I think breaking that mold has probably been a bit of an uphill battle for the Australian rum distillers these days.
It's very true, and we're continuing that, but I think we're all up to the challenge on that. Everyone's very keen to do that and educate the Australian rum drinker out there, or prospective rum enthusiast, as to what a beautiful craft rum can be and what it will be going forward.
At length, Mark, haven't we? With it face to face, like there is massive rum renaissance happening in this country. I mean, rum now is where whiskey was when I got into whiskey back, professionally back in 2005, sort of thing. So there is now good old Captain Morgan.
That's actually that was the high end stuff.
I know. And Kraken, everyone thought Kraken was all this sort of stuff. Yeah, you'd hear, but
just for you, David and Carol, that was the high end shit.
Yeah.
It's amazing, but no, I think
high end.
I remember asking for that by name years ago. I'm embarrassed to say, but
didn't we all?
Didn't we all?
Can I just, before I forget, Mark, can I go back to what you were saying before? Otherwise, it will slip my mind. But you were talking about the cane juice itself as being a really agricultural sort of product. When you get it, it's dirty, it's full of muck and all that sort of stuff. You guys use wild yeast. You don't use a proprietary yeast at all, and that, I guess that's one of the reasons why. Am I correct? I'm not wrong there.
No, we actually, sorry to disappoint you, Alex, a bit there. It's like We actually do pitch our own yeast into it. The
Right.
reason being
So I was
is
going to
that
ask
with,
that question, what the yeast was.
yeah.
Okay, I've got that wrong. Sorry. Yeah.
Oh,
I've
So-
offended them so much they've
yeah,
just
they've disappeared. Let's hope they're just having a moment and they'll come back.
take your wild
Sorry, our
yeast,
camera
shove it up
just,
your ass, is what they're saying.
We are here. The camera just decided to not work.
Oh, they're there.
So we
Oh,
just-
nice.
That's good. If you're still there, we can talk to the roving dot.
The
Yeah,
specially
okay.
selected
So-
strain of yeast.
We will figure out
is
the
that-
camera as we're doing
If you were
this.
talking, I can.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
Oh no, we lost them completely.
that's not so good.
Oh dear.
Uh,
I think
no.
I'm pretty sure I met them in Dubbo
Okay, we're
at
here.
the Winter Whiskey Festival.
Yeah, no good.
They're back now. Nope. Oh nope, gone again.
This
think
year,
that-
Alex, or last year was that Winter Whiskey Festival?
This year.
This year, all
This
right.
year.
Okay.
As in like 2 weeks ago.
Just 2 weeks ago, yeah, right.
So we,
Yeah.
we
Now
can
we're-
run if you guys without a camera, that's fine.
Yeah,
just-
we're here. We'll figure out the camera as we go. But anyhow, so
Yeast.
so the yeast, yeah, we do pitch our own yeast, and the reason being is that with the wild yeast, you sort of don't know what you're going to get. Sometimes you may
True.
get something brilliant, you may not. It may be pretty ordinary, and we would just, while we are very keen on capturing that influence of the local cane and and showcasing that, we want to make sure that we have a product that is consistent within that. So that's the whole I think reason why we pitch our yeast. We want to be able to consistently manage our ferments and our product as it goes.
Gotcha.
And tell me, is there a crossover with the yeast that you use across your whiskey and your rum?
Mm.
There is not. No, we use a different yeast for our
Okay.
whiskeys. The rum we use one that's specifically developed for a cane juice based rum.
Mhm.
The yeast we tend more towards a Belgian ale yeast for our whiskey.
I did read that.
And,
Yep.
Yeah. Now the one caveat on that is that we do a fairly long slow ferment, so we allow a fairly lengthy rest period afterwards, and are happy for any sort of little secondary fermentation or wild yeast or maybe even a bit of lactobacillus that might get in there and leave its thumbprint on it. And we do an open top ferment on both of ours, so both
Oh,
are rum.
wow.
Whiskey. Yeah.
I love that.
So,
I have a specific question for you, and I think I know the answer after talking to you already. But I noticed
Okay.
you have an Australian single malt made with a certain amount of malted barley, but you spell your whiskey with an E, not without an E.
We do. And
Can I ask what
that
the
is
story
just-
behind that was? Because when I was reading it, I was like, "That is epic."
Have you
I
heard
wanna
this
know
guy's
why.
accent?
That's what I thought. So when we first came on, I was like, "That's why." Do you get any questions about that very often in Australia?
We do.
Oh, we do. Yeah, every now and then I open my mouth and people go, "Oh, that's why."
Yeah, it took
So-
me 2 seconds, and I was like, "Yeah, okay."
It's just a gentle little nod to my heritage, I suppose, and our
Yeah,
kids,
our
and
kids
our
were-
family. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
That's
I love that. And so you've done 2 batches of whiskey now, is that correct?
Well, we've released 2 batches, and we've got a third that's coming at some point. We're not quite sure. It might be. I would have hoped that it would be ready by now, but it's looking like it might be another couple of months before we have our next whiskey release. We hope that within a couple of years, we're going to be a bit more consistent on our whiskey releases, kind of as our rums. We've had we're reasonably consistent on our rum releases right now. So hopefully our whiskey will be there in a couple of years' time. But just the challenge of the small craft distiller, really.
What are you aging? What size casks are you aging both your rums and your whiskies in? Just for the punters.
Yeah,
guys?
that's a good question, Brad. The smallest barrels we use are we have a handful of 100-liter barrels, and those are the smallest. But almost everything we use is 200 on up to. We have a handful that are, I think. Well, we have quite a few barriques and 325. I think is our biggest. 330, somewhere right in there. We have a few, and those are beasts when they're full. You just try and get them on the racks and leave them and not move them around at all.
Question:
So you wouldn't have a lot of room for a lot of those big barriques, so would you? Judging from the size of your premises down there, unless you've expanded somewhat since I was down there, you were just about they're gone. Oh. Every time I open my mouth and ask them a question,
no, you scare them off.
No, they're back.
We can see them just trying to solve the camera issue.
Right.
Sorry, Brad. I'd go again.
What was I asking? I was just going to say, yeah, because you're talking about the size of your cars, the big barriques and stuff that you've got a couple of. You wouldn't have many of those unless you've expanded the premises somewhat. Because I remember last time down there, you were doing it pretty tough for space, but looking to expand all that out.
So for everyone out there, our distillery currently we've got plenty of space outside. We've got a 7-acre property that we're on, but our distilling shed is 100 square meters inside. Then we've got another sort of 80 square meters undercover. So we're a little constrained for space, and the caveat is that I don't think there's a distiller out there that doesn't want more space. I think we all do. We find ways to fill up whatever room we have, but we are, yeah, we're very close to getting approval to build our the next phase of what we're doing. We're building a new shed that will be 240 square meters and quite a bit taller, and will give us a room to open a tasting room finally, and basically put all of our equipment to use and get more of those 300 and some odd liter barrels in there.
Yeah. When you say equipment, what are we running? I know you've got a Burnsy still, and is it 1250 liter still?
It is 1250 liters, and we have so that was originally electrically heated, but we've taken out the elements and we've had it converted to steam now. So we run a boiler, and then we have a 400-liter gin still. We know some folks manage to produce gin and rum or whiskey on the same still, but we've long since come to terms with the fact that I'm just not that good a cleaner, and so I'm happy to
that gin taint.
Keep the gin
I'm so
separate.
happy that that's been recorded. That now you've actually said it.
Well,
no, we just never wanted to really risk our rum or whiskey tasting like gin and vice versa. Even though we employ, the right cleaning methods, we just didn't ever want to run that risk. So, yeah, we've got the one that that Mark designed and that built, and then we've got a separate gin still.
Yeah. And then we have
wonderful.
3 4,500-liter fermentation tanks.
Wow.
Then our brewing equipment, and yeah, it's funny how how everything adds up. You can produce gin, and you've got your equipment for that. If you start producing rum, you've got to have more equipment. And you're producing whiskey, well, you need more equipment for that. And if you're insane enough to do all three of them, then you end up with all kinds of stuff.
which we
that's where we're at. Yeah.
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 Wow.
So
Are you buying
Yeah.
any spirit in to make your gin, or are you doing that yourself?
no, with our gin we do. We bring in neutral spirit from Manildra. It's just
Yeah.
one too many things to do if we did
Yeah.
that. And then obviously we don't have we run pot stills, so we don't have the capability of producing a really high quality neutral spirit.
Do you have a preference of NCS versus NGS for your gin?
Well, we do use NGS,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't
I
say
thought
we
you might
have
go to
a.
the cane spirit just because you love of rum.
Oh, we do, yeah. No, I wouldn't say we have a preference one way or the other. I think we love the softness of the wheat based neutral. It's very nice, and we're happy with it. And yeah, so that was yeah. Haven't ever really looked at using a cane neutral. I think as much as we love the rum, look at it as a very different product, really, at that stage.
Mm-hmm. I've met some distillers that do prefer the NCS versus the NGS from Manildra. And yes, so well, that's a really good question. Damn it, that's a good one. We need you to answer that one.
Hi, David and Carolyn. We would consider it. Look, I guess we've not really thought about it, have we? We've been, yeah, we would certainly consider it. Would you consider buying a bottle if we do it?
That's a good lead into one of the questions that I had, actually, Alex. Thanks. But it was specifically, have you got anything special or interesting or weird or wonderful in barrels aging at the moment that might be coming up in the future, or we should keep our eyes on playing around or experimenting?
We can't say, can we?
We have a couple of experimental little things going on right now that are probably better left unmentioned because they may or may not work out, but we'll see. But suffice to say, in the near future, if they do work out, we'll be able to announce them.
Brad, we always have things on the go here. We've got tinctures. I mean, just even in our kitchen, there's jars with things on them. There's all sorts of things going all the time.
But he's not talking about those sort of tinctures.
If you're not doing
you guys are, like I said, every time I see you guys, you're busy as ants. So it wouldn't surprise me what you've got going on down there. You're doing this, that, or the other, and I go, yeah, that's the other. And I go, yeah, that sounds good.
We are, but I think a lot of distillers are like that. You know, we get into this. I see some ads sometimes saying, trade your 9-to-5 job for a job as a distiller, and I think, trade the 9-to-5 job for a 5-to-9 job. It's full on. It's a lot of work if you're going to do it right, and everyone. I think we all find that out. It's it's a massive effort, but I enjoy it. I mean, there's not a day that goes by that I don't love going out there and producing the best spirits that I possibly can.
Jonathan, I think we totally agree with you with what that statement on the screen.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're not doing a rum finished whiskey, there's going to be problems from me, because a rum cask finish is one of my favorites. So,
well, you know what?
I do hope that happens, or if it hasn't already happened, I didn't read that it's happened.
Now that we've been decanting some rum barrels, and we've had a few, I have only recently filled a couple of them with whiskey.
Oh,
so
that's exciting.
Yeah. And that's kind of the fun of doing rum and whiskey, is I can swap back and forth a bit. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, it's a bit exciting now that we have that. We just decant a barrel one day and put the other spirit in it the next day.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny to say. I was talking to a gentleman in England the other day who's doing indie bottling of rums, but he's finishing all his rums in whiskey barrels. That's his it's going to be his hook. I can't even remember the name of the guy's label now. Quite frankly, no. Sorry about that. But yeah, interesting. It always it's interesting what people do with the different spirits. Don't like this, but I'll age it in this sort of thing. So it's interesting. Yeah,
it is. One thing we've done with our barrel program is, particularly with our rum, is we use a lot of new American oak, and that's sort of that's not common at all. There aren't a lot of rum distillers that do, and it was an entirely well, we thought about it quite a bit, but the reasons we wanted to do it initially turned out to not be the right reasons, but we actually love it, and we love the end result. And it's given us these beautiful barrels that still have so much life in them, and not unlike a bourbon barrel, but a lot of beautiful character in them in the form of that rum influence. And so we're very, very excited about putting whiskey back into them and seeing how that develops. And I have to say, I've put some whiskey in a couple of new oak barrels as well, and they're absolutely gorgeous. They're really coming on nicely.
So I guess as a distillery, you're just getting to that age where you're starting to turn over some casks now, aren't you, with your product, that you can use one of your rum barrels, say, to aid some of your whiskies in. You know, and they've had a couple of runs of rum through them to get them nice and I guess rummy would be the
rummy. Technical word, rummy.
Because I've been playing around with Karu Distillery. We're doing something for the first quarter next year with one of their outcask rums in a Grand Marnier cask. Now, I don't know if you've ever smelled a fresh Grand Marnier cask, but I don't even like Grand Marnier that much. But man, a fresh Grand Marnier cask is one of the most divine wooden things you can ever smell. I think it's just unbelievable. So,
Wow.
Sorry, Todd.
No, that would smell amazing. I can just imagine it.
Incredible,
yeah.
So having some of your
they'd probably get that real orange
style rum casks then come over to kick that stuff through in the to the whiskey would be quite amazing as well.
Mm-hmm.
I have a
that'll
question.
That'll be a really interesting release when it comes out.
I have a question that may out some whiskey and rum nerds out there. But is there a difference? I know the difference between gin nerds and whiskey nerds because I've done both gin shows and whiskey shows. But I haven't done a rum show. So is there a big difference in the rum nerds or rum wankers, like whiskey wankers, gin wankers? Like, is there any difference in the different clientele to whiskey, gin, and rum?
Absolutely, there is. Yes, and this is no comment on gin and whiskey
no out
enthusiasts.
Get it out.
But the rum one, the rum. A number of us have said rum is the fun spirit, and
I call tequila my fun juice, but okay, rum.
Yeah.
I got one word to answer that question, Alex, is cocktails. Like in rum, cocktails are fine. You can take a $300 bottle of rum, make some beautiful cocktails out of it, and you got a room full of people smiling. Take a $300 bottle of whiskey and add anything to it, and have a look at the frowns all around the room when you do it. I think that's the defining difference. Like cocktails, rum people are cool with cocktails because everyone loves a good cocky, don't they? The Sunday they're going down. Everyone loves it. So, but that's
is that because you got to mix it with something to make it taste good?
Sorry, say again.
I said, is that because you've got to mix it with something to make it taste good?
Not our rum.
Not at all. No. I don't think so. But yeah, I think cocktails make a lot of sense when it's 30 degrees or 35 degrees. Don't they? A nice daiquiri rather than a Islay whiskey kind of makes a lot more sense, I guess.
I just put Islay whiskey with pink lemonade and it becomes brilliant.
Islay whiskey with pink lemonade. You've never admitted that in public before. That's going straight to Facebook, that is.
You put Lefroy 10 with creaming soda. It's called a Lady Dallenberg because I've drank it so much and I love it. But seriously, Lefroy 10 and creaming soda. Wow. That's a party room.
Our recent discovery was this long race who full disclosure, is
Cool.
now one of our sponsors. Thank you, Long Race.
All right. Okay.
Thank you, Long Race.
This dark soda and whiskey is just fantastic. It's such a nice drink. We're trying to get people away from Coke onto dark soda.
I got put onto some high some. I'm not going to mention a different brand considering the sponsor, but I got put onto some high end cola when I was down at Lord Byron last time and got absolutely spifflicated being demonstrated how good this high end cola and their rum together just happened to be, and I can tell you from the hangover the next day, yeah, it was great. But
I've actually tried.
What is that one? My question was going to be: do they do a cola, a nice different, like a sugar? I don't even know what that other one was that made it so special.
This is just this dark soda. It goes fantastic with rum from experience. It's fantastic with whiskey from experience, and we've even tried it with some gins, and I think it works with gin even. It's a little bit different, but it's something a bit different.
Be sure to get our hands on a few of those bottles and have a try. That sounds good.
You know, please have a look for it. It's they're fairly new, I think, but they're definitely taking the industry by storm, making some really good mixes.
But certainly, Alex, I think it's a fun crowd, the rum crowd. They're just, the events are fun. And I think, look, I don't know, there's also that tiki element. Like it's quite a diverse group. The folks that drink rum, you know, from a pure single rum and sipping to a mojito or a really sophisticated daiquiri to the tiki crowd. And it's just quite a range of things that you can do with rum and the folks that enjoy it. And it's always a fun rum gathering. We've got a couple, might do a little plug. We've got a few coming up. Or you've just done a couple.
Well, I've done a couple recently.
We're coming up.
Very honored to be asked to be on a panel for, as I mentioned earlier, for the Lobo in Sydney for their 10th anniversary. So beautiful rum bar and gorgeous
and
hospitality,
well done to them.
Cocktails there.
Well done to them for 10 years of serving Sydney. That's amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then
the Bricks event.
Yeah, so we had a rum buddies night at Bricks Distillers. There was us and Bricks and Jimmy Rum there, and we're all good mates. We have a lot of fun together, and we had a really fun night. And
next week we've got an event at Killick in Belgrave in Victoria. A beautiful rum event and degustation, and then we've also got it's World Rum Day next Saturday, and we've got another event at the Fitzroy Beer Garden.
I'm actually a bit jealous.
And Jimmy Rum, and
so there'll be a handful of us at that, and so quite a few rum events lately, and look, I have to say that we have probably not been the most active. That's an understatement in the whiskey scene, and that's something I think we want to do. In all fairness, in the next year is probably both raise our profile within the whiskey community, but also participate in it and be a part of it. I think take part in a few events and stuff within the whiskey community. We've just probably not had that much whiskey available, and then when it's been available, the first couple of releases tend to go fairly quickly. And we're very, very proud of our whiskey. It's a unique drop, and we would love to share it. And so look for us more at some whiskey events in the next year.
Definitely.
Well,
my best friend has just your arm for a whiskey of the month for the Singapore Whiskey Club.
Yeah, I know you've been keen, Brad, and certainly keeping you in mind on that. Yeah, we've just got to get some more releases.
Yeah, I know. It's look, you guys do some fantastic stuff down there, and you're a great story, and you're a great small. I just love the proliferation of the small distillery, the small family distillery in this country. It's just fantastic, and you guys, you're part of that as the Todd up in the top of the corner. I guess people like Alex and I are left to spruik and sell the fantastic products, which isn't a bad job either. Would
Spend a fair chunk of my life spruiking and selling. I must have.
I know you do. I know you do. You're the best spokesman a distillery could have, Todd, except for Camille.
Has he put you on the payroll yet? Has he given you a pay rise?
Hey, see, I've had 2 pay slips.
2 pay slips.
Yeah, that's it. And 3 weeks after the pay slips, I finally got paid. So yes, I'm officially on the pay slip on the payroll from time to time.
Very good.
I thought he would have said, "I'll double your pay with 000." So. Oh, awesome!
I'm raising my glass to you, Todd. You can't see it.
Yes.
Thank you.
You can see mine, and mine's got a winding road for you, Mark. There you go.
Oh, look at you. Spread.
I mean, you could also be flipping us off, Mark.
No,
we
no.
wouldn't know.
They could be. I'm not.
Never.
I would.
So there is a
Could be.
question from Facebook, which is quite an interesting one for someone starting out.
Oh,
Which way would you lean people?
oh, there's one for you, Mark and Camille. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, that's a good question.
it is.
Would you suggest?
I guess I would. Look, I'm going to give. Well, this is me, and Camille, you may have a different opinion, but I would say follow your heart, really, Matthew. You know, that's kind of not a very useful answer in some respects, but go with what you really believe in and the product that you really believe in, and that's going to inform your ability to sell it. If you know. Focus on that and know that you believe in that spirit and that you just can't wait to share it with others.
And enjoy what you're going to be doing
Yeah.
each day.
Uh-huh.
And do what you're passionate about. And yeah, as Mark said, it's going to help you sell it and it's going to help you enjoy coming to work each day.
Yeah.
So Matthew, if I may answer that, I think you answered it straight up there in saying for new owners of a rum distillery, if that's what you want to be and that's how you're going to be from the start, that's what you need to be focusing on. I understand there is a little bit of time lapse there, but for a rum distillery to release a gin in a branding exercise, I would highly recommend releasing the rum first as a rum distillery, if that's what you want to be known as. I know other distilleries that I've worked with have just called them distilleries and then released a gin for that product, and then they'll go down the whiskey and other spirits road. But if you are 100% a rum distillery, release the rum first.
Yeah, and that's a very good point, Alex, on that. Follow what you are getting into business for in that sense, and it's a challenge. Really getting out there and producing a spirit and selling it. It can be quite nerve-wracking. You know, you're putting yourself out there and stuff. But I guess just make sure to back yourself in the process of doing that and have a go.
It's a little bit hard for new rum distillers, and I feel for them in Australia compared to those from pretty much anywhere in the rest of the world, in that, like, as soon as it comes out of your stills, if it's made from a sugarcane product, in the rest of the world, it's rum, baby. But in Australia, we've got the 2-year thing, so we don't even have really a product category where the unaged spirit can sit in sort of comfortably. And look, unaged rum, especially unaged agricole
Cane spirit.
Rum is a huge. If you go to Martinique and ask for aged agricole, they look at you like you're crazy, because that's not how they drink it. They drink it straight out of the bloody stills in a bottle with a bit of sugar and some hunks of lime skin, a tea punch. That's so.
You're absolutely right, Brad. Yeah, and
So
I think within the rum community, a lot of us are keenly aware of that. Most of us have tied ourselves in knots trying to position our unaged product and do so in a way that is respectful of the current law of the land and of other distillers out there that are playing by the rules as well. There are certainly a few, as there have been within the whiskey sector, that have either sort of tried to skirt around it or have outright just ignored it, unfortunately. But there always will be a few. I think we're quite keen to have that discussion, though, within the community, within the distilling community, about how we can uh, better showcase an unaged rum, because after all, that's what it is. As you say, any other country, it's really um, a rum, and the majority that's consumed worldwide is unaged. Um, and I think that's the thing that really separates it from whiskey in this particular argument, is that whiskey is accepted globally as a matured spirit generally, whereas rum is can be both.
Mm.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
an
the
amazingly wide
knowledge,
category, isn't it? Yeah.
the knowledge is starting to get a lot better around
Mhm.
cane spirits here in Australia. And I think that's likes of places like Lobo and other bars that are actually educating, and through rum shows and that massive source of people wanting the information. I think that we are getting a little bit more traction in Australia with cane spirit.
Mhm. Absolutely,
Yeah,
and
too.
yeah, and we
What
are
makes you wonder where they
we
decided to have that 2-year notation? Why we adopted
sorry,
it in
Todd.
Australia? It makes you wonder why we adopted the 2-year
Oh yeah.
time frame over here, or whether they just followed the whiskey crowd.
I think,
Yeah, I think the
gosh,
two
I've heard
years
so many stories, yeah, as to why. I think it's almost been lost to time as to the real reasons for it. But yeah, rum, whiskey, and brandy. Um, and I guess I would say that we are so proud of our unaged release, our Agricole Blanc. It's a beautiful cane spirit, and we've worked very hard over the last well, going on 5 years now to make it a beautiful, clean expression, and one that just absolutely shines in cocktails. Anything from mojito to a daiquiri, a pina colada, tea punch, a caipirinha, and we love it. But if I had $1 for every time someone asked me what a cane spirit was, I wouldn't have to sell a bottle.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
uh, so it is a challenge, yeah, absolutely, and it's something hopefully we can overcome one way or the other.
But I think Australia as a whole is just waking up to what good rum and good and by I guess by extension of that, good distilling is all about. Now the rum sort of field opens itself up to have your distilling itself under the microscope if you're opening and putting like a Blanc spirit up like yourselves, because that's straight out of your stills. There's no one else that's going to cop the blame if it's no good but the distiller itself. So I think, but on the other hand, I think it's also a good way to judge just how good a distillery or a distiller is by getting into the unaged stuff as well. But I think where was I going with this story? But I think Australia is just starting to open its eyes to the fact that unaged spirit can be absolutely fantastic. You've got people like Killick who are killing it overseas with their silver, what they call their silver, which is great, an unaged molasses-based spirit. Doing great things overseas where that's an accepted style of rum. But over here, I think we're at this early stage where people are sort of, and because rum's such a huge, wide category with so many styles in the category, that people are just going, oh, that's a rum. Oh, wow, that's a rum. Well, I'll try that. Whereas before, maybe they've been like, I'm not into drinking moonshine. I don't want unaged spirit. But I think because they're opening their eyes that it's part of a category that they're used to, it makes it easier to drink it and go, wow, that is a fantastic drink. And especially when you start throwing it in the cocktails you were mentioning before, Mark, as a base to those cocktails, they really give it some smash, give it some big flavors.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We agree with what you were saying, Brad, because oftentimes, because we have a range of spirits that we craft here, that people will say, so what's your favorite spirit? What's the favorite one that you make? And more often, I think we generally always say it's the Agricole Blanc. It's the unaged cane spirit because there's nothing to hide behind. It is local sugarcane, rainwater, the fermentation, and it is a pure expression of, as you said, it's what the distiller is doing, and that's it, and it's beautiful.
I apologize for the visual, but it's me as a distiller basically standing out there naked for the world, this is me, this is it, this is my skill.
That's why you
or
two
lack thereof,
are actually standing out there naked.
I hear you. It's one of the most scary things.
Well, I might be.
That's why the camera's off, Brad.
Well, I know I've done naked rain dances trying to get it to rain so we can get some rain on the barley crops before. So is it the same with, you've got plenty of rain up there for the rum crops, right? So there's no naked rain dancing?
A little,
yeah.
Well, yeah. It's a thing up this way for sure. Yeah.
I think in relation to that question with the virgin cane spirit or the white cane spirit, or you call it Blanc Agricole, is that right?
Agricole Blanc.
We do, yeah. Although
Agricole
we're probably going to be renaming it soon, rebranding it. But anyhow, that's what it is at the moment.
I think an Australian's just won double gold. I think at the San Francisco, an Australian virgin cane spirit has just won double gold. So I think that's going to be a huge. I think Burdekin won it.
Oh, Burdekin, okay.
Yeah, but I think that's going to do big things for the Australian, let's say, unaged rum world as well. I think when that sort of comes out and gets more widely known, that I think that virgin cane would be something that people are going to get to know more, and releasing that versus a gin when you're a rum distillery, that's something that's so special, I think.
Well, it's an interesting spirit. Sorry, go, Mark. Okay, I was going to say it's an interesting spirit as far as startup distilleries, because as a retailer, I guess I've seen a few young distilleries start up, and you've got people like Jimmy Rum who go down, I guess, the indie bottling route. So bringing some stuff in from overseas, bottling it themselves under their own brand to get some brand awareness before they bring their own rum out. I mean, he did that so well. Then you've got people like Camille and Mark at Winding Road who put out their Agricole Blanc sort of spirit. There's so many sort of different ways that you can do that. As a young distiller, I think it's just going to get better for young rum distillers. I think people who just do whiskey are probably up the shit in a way, because there's no, I don't see that there's any real market for unaged whiskey spirit. No. Is there? I mean, there's been a few people who have done it.
We've tried it. It does work in cocktails, but it's a bit of a hard sell.
Yeah. Some of us were making like Bloody Marys with it for a while in venues. It was fucking great too.
Well, I can imagine what a Bloody Mary would be, but by the time you drink a Bloody Mary, pretty much everything tastes fucking great, doesn't it?
That would be good.
Pancake Manor or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But one thing we've been dabbling with is aging our new make a little bit. So it's still new make, but it's aged new make. So it's still got a bit of color and it's starting to develop.
I think you small producers, that's where you're well placed to sell that sort of a product, where you're at markets. You're at markets so often. If you can put it in their mouth and have a bottle ready for them to buy straight away, that's I think where you start the appreciation for the unaged.
That's right.
So it's going to be a bloody hard sell putting it on a shelf somewhere. And
that's right, because then you've got what you make. So,
it is. And look, we have that same problem with a cane spirit, because you put it on a shelf at a bottle shop somewhere, and there's no one there to explain to the person what a cane spirit is, and that's one of the harder aspects of it for us, really.
It's all comes down to education, doesn't it, and getting the word out there.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we can,
from my experience, I find bartenders are the day-to-day education for consumers. I know that we have the whiskey shows and the rum shows and the gin shows where a lot of people will get so much knowledge, and even these podcasts and live streams where people are gaining that knowledge. But on a day-to-day basis, from what I have learnt and seen in the industry over the last 15 years, is a lot. It's a lot of the education of bartenders verbally over that bar about what they're putting in their drinks, or they're the ones that are going to get so excited about a product and put it out, or educate. If they know about something and love something, they're going to talk about it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Very true. Very true. So we notice when we're able to educate the consumers and introduce them to it properly, that we end up with, obviously much more engaged on the product. But oftentimes they go, "Look, I had no idea how good this is," and they grab a bottle and happy days.
Awesome.
Well, guys, we've actually got to just over an hour. So with the technical glitches and things, it's been really good tonight. So
any questions from the floor that we might have missed? Anyone got a question from the audience?
We've actually hammered them pretty well. There's only one but I'm pretty certain that we answered this earlier on in the night.
Yeah, we were talking about
Asian
that.
whiskey rum caps. Yes, we sure did. Yeah.
We had a whole conversation
great
about that, and I didn't even plug the Penderyn that we just ran in the Single Malt Whiskey Club that was aged in rum casks. Yeah, but I had to the second time. It was just too much. Sorry. Thanks, David and Carol.
Give some thought to putting some gin in one of the casks one of these days. We'll see. That might be fun.
I actually might buy a bottle of that gin.
Well, thank you, Alex.
Yeah,
there's not many wine spirits on my back bar if you haven't noticed.
That's 2 bottles accounted for. There you go.
Make it a small rum cup. Awesome.
Yeah. So
All
again, thank you all for your time tonight. Any final questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity.
No, it's great.
This hour's absolutely flown by. We've really enjoyed it. Thank you for having us on.
Now, guys, website buying products. Where does everyone jump in and get your stuff?
Exactly.
Oh, great question.
Yeah, thank you. That's a good way to end. Website. We ship all over Australia. We are at. So there's the website, everyone. If you're looking
Well
on the
done,
screen. And we are at local markets in the Northern Rivers. We are at some bottle shops in Melbourne, Sydney, Gold Coast, and
we're looking to broaden our reach, but we have a lot of the same challenges other small distillers do. Is beautiful product that we really believe in, and a gorgeous story and everything, but limited resources to get it out there. So we're expanding all the time. We would love for you to pick up a bottle and have a try.
I think the nice thing about being a small distillery, and I often share this with people when I'm at a market or at an event, is that if you've got any questions, give us a call. It's Mark and I. So, and if you want to know where you can buy it, just give us a call. Because we're the owners. It's a family-owned distillery, and we'll point you in the right direction if you're in the Gold Coast or in Melbourne or Sydney, and we'll let you know who's got it. And if they aren't close to you, then we'll ship it down to you.
I always found when I was running bars that when I'd find these amazing little distilleries, these craft distilleries, that getting hold of the people there and going, "Hey guys, I want to put you on my back bar," was always a super cool way. And the best way was to just get in touch with them, send them an email and call them. And I would instantly have them on my back bar, and they'd just be so excited. And it was such a great way that the teams would learn about new Australian distilleries, but then also be pushing it out to other people. So if anyone on the stream or listening on the podcast is from bars, make sure you get in touch and get these awesome little distilleries on your back bars. Educate your staff on them and help them out, because that's the best way to do it, is to get the education out there so these guys can sell more.
Absolutely. Thanks, Alex, because that's certainly how we got into a few Melbourne bars, isn't it? Just from bartenders chatting with each other.
Yep, that's it.
And getting us in,
I can tell you, Camille and Mark, that there's, I don't think anyone in Byron Bay itself stocking either yours or Brian's rums that I could find around, which was a great travesty, I thought, last time I was down there, because I went out on the crawl. The only thing I could buy was the local beer. There was a local beer. I can't even remember what it was now, but that was, and I just thought, really, you got so many great whiskey and rum producers within like kicking distance of all the pubs, and no one's.
I know.
Is that? Sorry, I know I should have asked that before, but you sound a bit resigned, and I hear the sigh. Like, is that a problem? Are you running with resistance to the places down there?
No. So you did hear the sigh, but I was going to say it means that we've got nowhere to go but up with that. And next time you come to town, it'll be better, I'm sure.
Oh, look, I hope so. The guy out trying to get drunk on local produce, it was a tough ask. It was. I was doing my very bloody best that night, let me tell you.
Oh my God, that is my life goal from here on in, going out and getting drunk on local produce.
Wouldn't you love to?
I think that almost explains my transition from Sydney to country New South Wales. Is I have been going out and getting drunk on local produce lately. That's perfect, right? That's it. That's my life.
Yeah. No, I'm lucky I get a lot of the local produce sent to me, so it's
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me, guys.
No,
I appreciate it being a
Thanks,
Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Brad, and thank you very much, Todd.
Thanks everyone for listening.
Thanks. I'll just do the out roll and then